Brandon Gibbs and Julia Trubkina from 90 Day, The Last Resort have kept fans guessing about whether they are still together after filming season 2. Julia hails from Krasnodar in Russia but was working in South Korea when she met Brandon from Virginia. Julia did not expect to be living on a farm surrounded by animals when she moved to the US. She also didn't expect to have interfering in-laws like Brandon's parents, Ron and Betty Gibbs, who were far too involved in their son's marriage to Julia. Former go-go dancer Julia recently completed 5 years of living in the US. However, life has been full of challenges for the young reality TV star. Julia has dealt with unemployment, visa issues, baby problems, and more since her 90 Day Fiance Season 8 debut, and Brandon has done little to help ease her distress. There have been instances where Julia has cried on social media while sharing cryptic updates about how messy her life has been since marrying Brandon. Still, Julia is finally seeing better days in America. She's finally celebrating her first major success in the United States. However, is Brandon by her side as she does that? 90 Day, The Last Resort teased a cheating scandal involving Brandon and Julia in the Season 2 trailer. More details were revealed in an episode where the cast did a group hypnotherapy session with a clinical hypnotherapist and life coach, Sarah Malone. It was during this session that Julia came clean about having cheated on Brandon. It was revealed that their long-distance relationship had taken a toll on Julia's decision to be unfaithful. They had been apart for several months at a time, and Julia wondered if Brandon was committed to her. Julia had cheated on Brandon about 5 years back. She was wondering if Brandon was dating her casually and didn't think they were going to get married and start a new life together. Julia confessed she had kissed her ex when she was in Russia. Brandon told the cameras that cheating was the worst thing Julia could have done. He admitted that divorce had become a stronger possibility after what Julia had done. Julia explained that her decision not to have children with Brandon was a personal choice, largely influenced by a medical concern. She said, "So when I say like I don't want kids, and when I say I don't want because I'm so scared to be in reality. So, I can't have a kids." Overcome with emotion, Julia broke down in tears, struggling to articulate her feelings. She also shared that she had begun discussing the possibility of having children with Brandon, which prompted her to travel to Russia for a doctor's consultation. Julia revealed that Brandon repeatedly advised her to get a second opinion in America. After traveling back to Russia to visit her family, she opted to undergo a full body checkup. Given the high cost of healthcare in the US, Julia acknowledged she had been dealing with a couple of sicknesses for a long time and anticipated that the tests would confirm them. However, she was shocked to learn that the results indicated she might be unable to have children. Julia and Brandon also had to deal with disagreements when she expressed her wish to bring her parents to America. She hadn't seen her family in years and wanted to badly meet them. However, Brandon expressed disapproval and was unsupportive of Julia's decision. He worried about how Julia's parents' visit would interfere with their lives. Julia wished to get in touch with her family and, considering how close Brandon is to his own parents, he should have supported Julia. However, Julia had to apply for her parents' visa sneakily behind his back, leading to another argument between them. Brandon met Julia when she was working as a go-go dancer. Brandon had still fallen in love with Julia on the day he started talking to her and even decided to marry her. However, Brandon didn't want Julia to work as a go-go dancer in America. Julia has had a hard time finding jobs in the country in the last 5 years, despite being skilled in various aspects and having worked more than 15 jobs in her past, such as bodybuilder, singer, waitress, hookah girl, designer, party planner, and drawing teacher. Brandon didn't want Julia to dance at a strip club even though it would make her an income that was more than what Brandon was bringing home. Brandon asked Julia, "So why stop there? Why don't you do P*******?" He was ashamed of his friends finding out that Julia worked at a strip club. Brandon cautioned Julia that he didn't want her to do something that many proud guys wouldn't want their girlfriend or wife to do. Brandon didn't really act mean with Julia in their initial 90 Day Fiance seasons, but he changed over the last few years. Brandon showed his nasty side when he talked down to Julia and called her names even on camera. While he had always been seen as a mild-mannered man on the show, Brandon was out of line after Julia danced on top of the bar and unintentionally exposed herself. Brandon mentioned that Julia was dressed like a WH***** and did not look like someone who he'd want to be the mother of his children. He also found Julia's dancing to be suggestive. Julia did not agree with Brandon. Brandon and Julia spent a lot of time traveling in the early days of their relationship. They mostly went to Europe before 90 Day Fiancé and after they got married. They took a liking to cruises and visiting places such as the Dominican Republic, St. Thomas Virgin Islands, and the Bahamas. The last resort was filmed a year ago, so it's very obvious which couples stayed together and which couples split. And Julia and Brandon are among the ones who are still making things work. Julia tries to make it look like she's all by herself in the US, and mostly posts pictures with her dogs. Brandon has spoiled their storyline by sharing videos of him and Julia even celebrating Christmas 2024 together with their parents. The couple also went on a romantic European vacation in late 2024, and this time around, Julia couldn't resist the temptation to show off the pictures on social media. It was only after Julia and Brandon were announced as the Last Resort cast that they made it their agenda on Instagram to show that they'd split. While Brandon did not approve of Julia dressing in revealing outfits on 90 Day, The Last Resort, he doesn't seem to mind Julia having an OnlyFans account where she presumably posts risque content about herself. Funnily enough, Brandon himself has an OnlyFans account, so his outrage over Julia's supposedly provocative dancing looked over the top. Julia is currently pursuing a career as a dog trainer, inspired by her father-in-law's family business and her own love for dogs. In January 2025, Julia launched monthly subscription boxes for dogs. Each box is carefully curated with new surprises every month to bring joy to pet owners and their furry friends. Julia has named her business Kingdom of Dogs. Again, Brandon has refrained from commenting on Julia's business to keep up with their 90-day, The Last Resort storyline. However, the pictures and videos that Julia posts on social media suggest that Brandon is being a dutiful Instagram husband and doing all the camera work for his wife.